Alright, just looking at the ground here, I can tell it is still pretty moist underneath all these leaves. This line right through here, where the ground is kind of tore up a little bit, is where I planted the squash. That's where I pulled a log out of here to outline my garden with. And now it's, I don't know, out here dried up a little more where the clumps of dirt are above the ground, whatever, but right there and all the way up and along here, I planted squash about every foot or so. And yeah, it's shaded parts of the day, but there's, as you can see in the area over here, it opened up fairly well when I took those couple little trees and the one decent sized tree down right there. So it does get partial shade, partial sun, but so far nothing. I have noticed a couple spots it looks like wild pigs have dug a little bit, or something's dug a little bit, so maybe some of the seeds got eaten before they germinated. But anyways, just back here checking. So along this path here, on both sides, I planted melons. To the right, it's the cantaloupe, and to the left, it was honeydew. And oh, there went a rabbit. It was hiding right by the tree. As soon as I got too close, it took off running. But you can see here, I mean, not the green thing, but right next to it, whatever, there's patches where the ground's tore up just a little bit. I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing something has been in here eating all the seeds that I planted. But so far I have seen nothing sprouted yet. When we get back into this clearing over here, I planted acorn squash and watermelons. And back behind me where I was showing at first, I planted butternut squash, honeydew, and cantaloupe. Oh, a patch of fir here. Yeah, white fir with a bunch of leaves and stuff all in it. I'm not sure what that's from. But yeah, all along here, spots where the ground's tore up and something dug for something. And it's not like they did it over there in the forest at all. It's all just right along where I planted the melons. So best guess is all the melon seeds got eaten. Let's go check where I planted the watermelon and acorn and see if anything's coming up. Now in my main garden areas, all my summer squash is already coming up. Brassicas, you know, the cabbage and broccoli are coming up. The radishes, we're starting to harvest some of those already. And pumpkins and melons are all coming up in the garden. I was just trying to plant some back here, more of an experiment, just to see if I can get anything to come up. I kind of know what I'm looking for as far as the shape of leaves and whatever. Lots of little stuff growing out back here, but don't seem to see anything that I planted. Right over here along this edge of this log, I figured the ground would stay a little moister because the log covering it, whatever. But back this way I planted some of the acorn squash and some of the watermelon. Did a little bit of both. And I am not seeing anything. Nothing that looks like squash or watermelon. Let's see. I don't know. I think I planted something, yeah, something back this way. I didn't mark where I planted them. I just walked around and put seeds in the ground. and it's rained a couple of times since then. It's had several warm days of good sunshine. But I got a spider crawling on me. Where's that? Sorry about that. Bad camera work there. I had a spider crawling on my other arm and had to brush it off. I'm holding the phone with my left arm, or with my right hand, and had the spider crawling on my left arm. Alright. Yeah. Well, that's a bit of a bummer. It's been over 3 weeks since I planted those. I should have had something growing by now. You know, all the other little forest plants are coming up. Bunch of little oak saplings back here. So this clearing is here mainly because there was a huge oak tree that fell right before I bought the property. You can see where that pile of brush is. Sorry, turning quick. That's where the oak was growing and fell from. Right next to it, there's an oak that's fairly tall. That broken branch was actually growing up underneath the other oak that fell, and when it fell, it broke that branch off of this oak. The oak that's right here, that red oak, is somewhere around 2/3 to 3/4 of the size of the one that fell. The one that fell had a huge canopy. Sorry, the base of it was on the edge of the little ravine right about there, and the top of the tree was almost to this white oak here when it fell. So by the time, well, yeah, the top of the tree, some of the branches of it made it all the way out to here. And as you can see, I'm only 15 feet from that white oak. I don't know, more than 100 feet from where the base of the tree was. Yeah, a big old tree. And when I was first walking around on my property, the very first time I walked back here, I saw that the tree had fallen and the leaves on the tree were still green. You know, now all the leaves on the ground there are brown, but that was 3 years ago the tree fell. But yeah. See, down this way I planted some other, I don't remember exactly. I don't know if I had melon seeds when I got to this point, or if I had already started on the watermelons. But yeah, I had 5 packets of seeds with me when I walked back through here, and they were all in the melon and winter squash families. So, but you can see here the ground is all tore up again. Back here and right there. Yeah, best guess is something came in and dug up all the seeds I planted and ate it. Somehow they were able to smell all the seeds or something. But let's check the water supply for the horses while I'm back here. It's looking a little brown and not moving very fast right now, but they still have water. Yeah, we need another rain. It's supposed to rain again tomorrow. It's supposed to have a heavy thunderstorm come through. So it should wash out this ravine. Clean it out, freshen up the water in here. Yeah, this ravine usually holds water anywhere from 2 weeks to a month after a rain. But the longer it's been since a decent rain, the worse the water gets looking. You see there's still puddles back in there down the ravine. Not any movement to the water anymore though. And here you can see where it's coming down this little wash. Let's see. Did a video, shoot, it's been 3 weeks or more, on this tree when it fell down. fell the opposite direction of the way I wanted it to, but I haven't gotten back in here to limb it up yet. This is that one that hung up on the stump. Well, it started to tip one way at the way I wanted it to go, and the gust of wind came up and blew it back up and over the opposite direction. You can see over here, I had the wedge cut out here. The tree started to tip that direction, and then the gust of wind came and blew it over the way it's laying, and it was hung up into the trees up there and on the stump, stuck on the stump, so I had to cut it free of the stump. And then I used one of this pole right here to push the base of it over. So I got to get in here and limb that up with the chainsaw and I'm going to cut it off. You can see there's a spot in there where it takes a bit of a turn down, and so I'm going to cut it right before that where it's pretty straight. And then I've just got this one here that needs to come out, and maybe the little cedar next to it, or at least limb that cedar. Probably just take it out also, and then I should have a pretty clear path to be able to drive my truck back to this point. And then a couple more things here to be able to get a turnaround spot for the truck, and then be able to back it this way. I got a couple of white oak logs that have been now sitting back here for, you can see them there and then behind it, that have been sitting for just, well, 15 months now, 16 months almost. I need to get those pulled out and see if they're any good for saw logs. If not, then they're going to go for firewood. But straight back along the path right there, there's like another bunch of white oak that I need to cut down. It's leaning over and the root mass of it is rotting out. But the log, once you get about 2 feet up, is still good. So I need to get back in there and cut that off, cut them down and drag them out. And then there's a few cedars in here that I want to cut down to mill up for siding. So I've got to get this cleaned up back this way and get my truck to where I can drive across the ravine, and back to this point, turn around in here, and then back it down my fence line this way so that I can get to those logs I'm wanting to get out of here. And the more trees I cut down and open up back in here means more sunlight to the ground and allows for more grass and stuff to grow on the ground for fodder for the animals, you know, horses. And I haven't put the sheep back here since the lambs were born, but they will eventually be coming back here also. But I don't know, I might have to do some more fencing or get them used to electric so I can do a rotational or something on it with them, because the fences that are here wouldn't hold them, as you can tell right there. Sheep would walk right under that. But yeah, you can see there's water there on the neighbor's property. Normally, right after a rain or during a rain, that water's flowing from the neighbor's property. Yep, good example there, Sadie. Exactly what the sheep would do as soon as they got to this area. Good job, Sadie. Walked right under the fence. And this fence was not originally that high. This T-post here, as you can see at the bottom of it, it pulled out of the ground. It was down about 6 inches more. And I just noticed this one never got tied. Oh well. So that T-post needs to get tied. That one needs to get driven back down. Probably need to hang a tire on it and fill it with rocks. Anyways, let's keep walking down the fence line. You can see when I was building this fence, I had to clear out all of this. There was a whole bunch of scrubby little trees right through here that I had to cut down. Oh, that tree's having issues. Okay, that one's going to come down. There's a cedar and what looks like an oak. I'm not sure which type, growing right next to each other. And it looks like, well, at least the one limb of the oak has died. The branch fell off. Okay. I'm probably going to cut both of those down now that I'm looking at it. That cedar would make for some decent saw logs for siding. It is tall and straight, up about 30 feet. Yeah, so that one, those, I think I'll take both of those down, open that area up some. But they're close to the fence, so I'll have to drop them towards that white oak, that's all. Yeah. That's just a cool looking tree, that white oak right there. But it leans this way really bad. And then this is a good sized cedar right here. Yeah. The thing I've noticed back here is with these cedars, if they're growing in an open area where the sun can get low on them, get down to the ground, they grow short and scraggly. But when they're back here in the forest where they have to reach for sunlight, they grow tall and straight and make excellent saw logs. And that one right there is a good example. I mean, if you wanted a cedar beam 20 feet long, you could easily get it out of that tree. Maybe even 24 to 26 feet long. Another good example of a nice tall straight cedar. This one I had to limb up a bit when I was building the fence. Had to cut some limbs off it to be able to build the fence. There's a dead tree right there. And this is, I built this fence and I think this used to be the path the deer would take crossing my property. So I kind of blocked their path, and so I'm not sure if they're getting under where the water goes through or what, but this path doesn't seem to be used much and it's getting overgrown now. But it goes back to that clearing where the red oak fell and crosses the stream over there. Yeah, I've got another big red oak tree that's about to fall, or I'm probably going to end up cutting it down because it's starting to splinter real bad. I don't know if it got hit by lightning a while back or what, but it is. Yeah, it's just up that way a little bit. Walk across these couple ravines. Oh, there's this stuff like this I want to pull out of here too and take to my gardens. I've been building some hugelkultur gardens, and I'm working on the third one, and I've got a lot of areas that I need to fill up, or a lot of logs and stuff I need to put in there still. Yeah, this spot right here, I put all these sticks down. The fence actually just goes over the top of the ravine, but I put these poles and branches across to stop my animals from walking under the fence. It's deep enough right there that the horses could walk right under the fence there. So I probably just need to get a cattle paddle and hang it off the fence to block that. And then here, kind of the same thing. I just put one log going across. Oh, it's a little stuff coming up since I built the fence. But I'm gonna go down right here. Yep. Exploring the forest with me today. But yeah, you can see I put a couple of poles there going across to try to discourage my animals from leaving the property right there. I've never had the horses actually get out, but I had a bull back in here. I had a yearling bull, and he got out a couple times, and then he learned to jump, and he would just jump a 5-foot fence. This is only the 4 foot, but I had him in the front, in a 5-foot corral to try to keep him in, and he jumped right over it. But this tree is dead. Just, this is the very definition of a widowmaker. It's splintering, rotting out from the inside. It is going to fall. Best guess, it is going to fall that way. It's like a big branch broke off it here, or landed there. It's sitting right next to another dead tree. But all of this stuff on the ground here would be decent to pick up and take to the hugelkultur beds. You got rotten wood, but here's another look at it. See, it's splintering. This won't even be any good for saw log or anything. It's so rotten, it's really just garden material at this point. Not really anything else you could do with it. But when it crashes down, it's going to break a lot of this little stuff around it. Yeah, thinking about getting the chainsaw and cutting it off a little bit above head height. Cutting a notch into the front of it and then just back cutting till it falls. But before I can do that, I got to clear up the ground here so I have somewhere to, an escape path, because it may just splinter and blow up. That's probably one of the most dangerous trees on my property right now. At least it's not going to fall on the fence when it falls, because it is leaning away from the fence. Probably one I should have taken down before I built the fence, but oh well. And back out here is the pasture part of this back property. Most of this back part of my property is forest, but I do have a couple acres of grass and weeds out here. Right in here, a bunch of pretty decent grass, weeds, but rocks too. Yeah. So lots of rock in this area, which I don't mind so much because it gives the horses something to trim their hooves on. Anyways, enough walking and talking. Brush pile that needs to get burned when it rains one of these days. Get a light rain to get the ground around it wet and then burn it. And yeah, 22 minutes in. So yeah, the YouTube channel's been coming along okay. We've got a lot of, getting close to 1,000 subscribers, in the 900 somewhere. My watch hours are what I'm struggling with getting. Got to get to the 3,000 or 4,000 watch hours to monetize, and I'm not coming anywhere close to that. I haven't even broken 1,000. Anyways, more random stuff that was on the property when I bought it. A couple of tanks. Random chunks of steel. And there's the neighbor's cattle. Those are my horses. It's Daisy and Flower. And then the neighbor runs Charolais bulls with the mixed herd of cows. Hey, Flower, you're all right, girl. She doesn't like me getting close enough to touch her. But what's going on, 25? What, Daisy? Did you enjoy your treat? Yeah, I brought Daisy and Flower some grain this morning when I started walking around back here. Got to take the feed scoop with me. Yeah, things a mixed herd of cows, some Angus, some Charolais, some crossbreeds, whatever. But he does run the Charolais bulls. Alright, well, it's 25 minutes into this video. Decent walk and talk. Started off talking about the stuff I planted and not seeing any of it coming up. You alright, flower? Some flies bugging you? Looks like she's got a couple horse flies bugging her. Oh, you're breathing. You fogged up the lens. Alright, Daisy. Anyways, if you guys like these videos, hit the subscribe button. And feel free to help me out and watch more of the long form videos. Or let them play on in the background or something while you're doing something else. Alright, have a good one.